what you're saying there. I think he's taken kind of some of us by surprise, really, how comfortable he's looked at the Premier League level. I mean, has it surprised you?
To a certain extent, although I've always felt with these kind of things, I've always kept an open mind about these things, because I think there's obviously a player there there was never any doubt about that. Now, why it hadn't worked out, you always try and figure out, well, there must be a reason. And I never felt that, I'll tell you what, walking out of my meetings is even worse than turning up late. Who was that? I didn't see him, but ban him. So I don't know if it's a surprise, but it's a credit to him. Like I said, I made it difficult for him, to be fair. I didn't make it easy for him. It's not like I said to him, Djed, you're here, we love you, stay. I purposely made it difficult for him because I thought that was going to be the test. To see, like I said earlier in the year, when he wasn't playing and wasn't part of squads, how was his training? How was he reacting to things? And he never got disengaged. He was always engaged, and they made an impression on everyone. Me, like I said, coaches, his teammates, and I think from then on, it's just been all about him. He's the one that's kind of, all I did was sort of, okay, well, you've earned a shot at it. Here it is, and he's been brilliant. And like I said, there's a player there. Sometimes it just needs certain things to click into gear. And what I found with a lot of players, it just, the penny drops at different times for different players. Some of them it drops at 18, others it drops a bit later in there, where they realise, okay, well, this is what I have to do to get the most out of my career. And it's a credit to him because he's an outstanding player. Like I said, I'm super pleased that we kind of, we kind of still got him in the building, because again, it would have been very easy and another sliding doors moment for him to be sort of playing elsewhere.
It sounds like you felt like he needed some tough love then.
I don't know if he needed, but you like I said, you try different things, and you want to try and get the best out of players, and or at least not the best out of them, but try and get them to be the best that they can be for themselves, the best version of themselves. So you try different things, and it wasn't just tough love, because I think that probably doesn't work with Djed either, because he's probably had that at some of his previous sort of experiences and hasn't worked out well. It was, I never sort of made it purposely tough for him. Like I was certainly, me and the other guys were very encouraging of him, but I wasn't going to give him the opportunity to play. I guess that's a bit I was going to hold back for as long as possible, just to really test out, how much he really wanted it and what he was prepared to do to get that opportunity.
He seems like an interesting character, kind of very laid back and phased by.
They all are, mate. They all are. They're, and I've come to understand that they're all kind of different cats, and you got to roll with it, mate. Jesus, some terminology I'm using now. I've gone back to the 60s, showing my age. It's just, like I said, it's just the way of the world, and I've learned to really embrace that side. Definitely when I was a younger manager, and I think it was the time you wanted your cookie cutter model of players. This is how they are. They come in, they do their business. Everyone's got a great attitude. They dress really well. They speak really well. They're all sort of prim and proper. And you go through that phase, but then life teaches you that, what, people are different and they should be allowed to be different. And as long as they're kind of contributing and they've got real good values and kind of respect the environment, the people around them, then let them be who they are. And it's liberating, mate, because it's less stress for me, because I'm very, very less judgmental than I used to be when I was a younger manager.
Well, to what extent is that a challenge then? Because one of the things you sometimes hear about more experienced managers is that they can't connect with the dressing room anymore. Yeah. They've lost that link with the players. So I'm not for a minute suggesting that, but to what extent is that?
Yeah, I'm a cool cat, yeah. No, look, it is important, but I think I'm never going to be able to sort of connect with, something that's a couple of generations away in terms of, not in terms of kind of from a sort of a relationship between, as a manager and as a player. I think if you have an acceptance, and I've, because of my experience, it hasn't been just different personalities, but different cultures, Culturally, I've had to sort of go into different cultures and understand how people live their lives differently and, the way they think. And so I said, for me, it's, I found it that it's really important that you kind of, embrace that side of, understand that side of it, go with it with many respects. But there's never going to be, the bane of my existence at the moment is I hate to go into Premier League grounds where I have to sit in the dressing room because the music they play, mate, it just drives me nuts. So if I can't find a quiet corner, it drives me bananas that they listen to that stuff. But so I'm never going to be on their level. But in terms of that human connection, I think once players feel comfortable that they can be themselves, I think it helps.
And just final one back to Djed. Obviously, with the England squad coming up, we might be talking about him as well, especially as England need a left back seemingly. Do you think he's ready for that challenge, for that level?
Look, I don't like talking about national team representation because it's a different model, but he's fair to say, I think, in terms of fullbacks in recent times, his form's as good as anybody's, I think. And don't forget, he's not really a left back; he's a right back. So, but I think the ability for him to play on the left hand side is very, very useful. But yeah, in terms of, like I said, fullbacks and form in the league over the last sort of 2 or 3 months, I think he'd be up there.
The final one from me. If you
that's a third final one. Everyone's picked that up. There you go.
Is it anyone else?
No.
If you had a final tomorrow, the Europa League final tomorrow, would you know your best team?
If I had it tomorrow, yeah, of course I would. But it's not tomorrow. So I know a team for Ipswich tomorrow, but that's where it ends, yeah. And another final one. Yeah. Yeah. I understand your question, but I think that all those things are kind of snapshots in time. Like if you're saying, well, if we had the Premier League, obviously Romero's not fit, Van der Ven's not fit, Solanke's not fit, but they could be fit for if we get to the final. So I don't think about it that way.
Yes. Tom. Let's pick up on Dan's one of his questions, about Djed. I know you don't want to talk about picking players for national teams for obvious reasons, but one of the things we've been most impressed with him is how unfazed he seemed against anyone, Salah, whoever. If you were given a chance for England, do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think that's where, Dan was talking about his sort of personality. He's got a really laid-back personality. I think that sometimes that can work against him when people's perception of him is, he's laid back. Does that mean he's not driven or, he's not really that committed to things? And I think sometimes that gives a false impression. But that laid back nature also means that, he's not going to be fazed by anything that's thrown at him. So it kind of works both ways. What some people see as maybe a weakness in him, that he looks a bit too casual with, not on game day, I think, but in terms of his general demeanour. I think come game day, I think he's not fazed by any sort of challenges thrown to him. And I think that's partly why he's kind of done really well since he's been thrown in, is that, I think even for him, I think he's had some difficult experiences, but that's what life's about. Those difficult experiences can actually help you, because, he's played in Italy, he's played in France, he's been challenged, he's played in the Championship. So I'm sure he's taken those things along, even though they haven't been positive, and said, well, okay, what have I got to fear here? Nothing really to fear. And I think he takes that into games.
I don't know where you are on this, but your critics with Djed specifically suggest him coming into the team has been almost through circumstance because of the injury that you've had, but you've just explained your whole process with him.
But they won't change their mind, mate. Every right decision I make is an accident, and every mistake I make is deliberate.
Well, I was going to say, without patting yourself on the back, it is more. There's been a sort of method with it.
Of course there is, yeah, and I'm proud of that. Not for me, but for us as a club and for the coaching group, that we kind of thought, there's something there, because there's plenty of evidence for us not to go down that track. We're talking about. We're in the Premier League here. We can't take too many gambles with what we do. So you've got to be really sort of have a clear understanding about what the road ahead was. And 99.9% of it is Djed. Yeah, he's the one that's because all I can do is kind of open that door, like I said, give him the opportunity. So that's him. But that 0.1%, I think, is us. Getting him to that position where he feels like, okay, I can sort of like I said, give the best version of myself here. I can prove that I belong here, and the credit lies with him, and the beneficiaries are the football club, us, and but for him as well, the challenge now is, don't settle for that, don't settle for where he's at now. Push on, there's no reason why he can't. He can be a top player, and he's already at a great level, but don't settle for that. And my role, and for all of us here, is to make sure that we keep pushing him on.
I want to ask you about Wilson Odobert, because he's someone that has become the forgotten man to some extent because of his injuries. When you signed, you played him straight away, him straight in. So based on that, it was clear how much you rated him right from the off, despite only being 19. How much this season, obviously you had injuries to lots of players, but that particular loss, has that been sort of forgotten about and glossed over how key it's been?
I don't know about key, but it is disappointing because I'm genuinely excited about Wilson's potential as a footballer. He's got a really unique qualities that are really exciting to see how they develop, and particularly in the way we want to play. He's the one player that's a little bit different from the others in terms of our attacking players, in that that dribbling capacity he has. It's hard to find, and he has that, and he kind of enjoys that part of the game. So he hasn't really. He was a new signing, but we haven't really seen him yet. So, but even with him, there's still an opportunity there to sort of make an impact this year. Like I said, we'll be careful with him in terms of the way we reintegrate him. But good chunk of the season left, some important games where I think hopefully he finishes the season strong, and then next year I think he'll be. I think he'll make a real big impact, not just with us but in the league.
I just finally, you've got that free weekend, the FA Cup game.
Yes, I do.
Are you thinking of doing any warm weather training with
I might do it myself, but the team, not the training bit, but the warm weather. No, the plan at the moment is to. Obviously, we know now that the kind of the draw we got. We obviously have to go to Holland midweek straight after that weekend. So, plan is to sort of train. Not both days, one day on that weekend, and just sort of have a normal lead into AZ.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, guys.